I think we have to have hope that society will get better. And I think that the only way to do it is with dialogue, communication, that my generation and your generation have to talk and not do more than talk. We have to come up with a plan, put it out there, and let's hope that it takes root. Let's give it a shot, Aaron, and let's meet again next week, and let's see what we talk about. I'd like to talk about next week the idea of what is the purpose. We talked about the purpose of society. Let's talk about personal purpose, the personal meaning in life that each of us can have. Let's focus on next time on the idea of what is each person's personal, private purpose to develop themselves in life.
All right. I like that. And I'll close with this, with sort of an example of what my generation thinks of the world currently. And that's, my school did a project last year where we all had to come up with what we thought. It was a political science project. We had to talk about what we thought the world would look like in 2050. And on the final day, on our day when we all presented, there was not a single person who projected a positive future for our country. There was lots of nuclear fallout. There were post-apocalyptic societies. There were communistic and dystopian societies. And there was complete and total political control. The closest we came to positive was a robotic malaria outbreak. And I don't think he was entirely being serious and taking it seriously. So I'll leave us with that, with the fact that at least within my school, there isn't a single person that currently thinks that there is a positive outcome for our country and our world if we don't start to change something.
Let me leave you with my last word, and that is that in 1986, there was a young boy, 12 years old, who was named Iqbal Masih, M-A-S-I-H. He was in Pakistan, and he was a child slave laborer in a carpet company. And he was assassinated at the age of 12 while riding a bike. And it was because his family had sold him at the age of 5 for 12 rupees to get money so that he could work in a carpet company. And these child slave labor children in the carpet companies in Pakistan were tied by chains to their looms, working 15, 16 hours a day to make money for the carpet barons. And because he escaped from one of these carpet companies and started advocating against the carpet cartels and joined the anti-child labor movement and spoke in Sweden and different places. And because of his activism, he was murdered. So a 12-year-old boy in Canada, in Toronto, named Craig Kielburger, read about this and was outraged. And he got a petition of 300 kids in his school to say, we want to bring a petition to the Prime Minister of Canada, Jean Chrétien, to say he has to speak up to the government of Pakistan and India to stop child labor. He flew to Pakistan, to India, and Prime Minister Chrétien was in India at the time. He asked for a meeting, 15 minutes. He was denied the meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada, and finally, because of media pressure, he was given 15 minutes with the Prime Minister. He presented the petition to him. The Prime Minister brought it up in Parliament, and then Craig Kielburger started the Save the Children Foundation, where there are now 35 chapters around the world. 1 million people are involved in the Save the Children Foundation to fight against child labor. And the child labor numbers of 160 million child laborers have now been reduced to 70 million. He hasn't changed the world, but he is changing the world because of his activism, because of his idealism. So I am asking you, Aaron, 15 years old, to get your idealism back and say, it's not going to be a malarial robotic epidemic that's going to be in 2050. We're going to have our goal of peace, of health, of meaningful lives, satisfying lives for everybody in the free world. And God willing, we're going to be able to put our heads together and make that happen. I don't know that it will become a utopia, but I think that our job is to make things better. And if we put our heads together, I think, and I inspire you to be motivated to think positive. I believe in your ability to make a difference.
Yeah, and I think maybe we won't be able to make a utopia, but my kids could, or my kids' kids could, but there's no way that they have that opportunity unless we do something now. Because the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is right now.
And hopefully, even though in 70, there was a story in the Medrash which says that someone asked an old man, why are you planting this tree? You're 70 years old. An olive tree takes 50 years to grow. You'll never see the fruit of this tree. And he said, I may not, but my children and grandchildren will enjoy the fruit of this tree. So I'm planting for the future.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Speak to you soon.